Welcome on back in, folks. It is Valorant Challengers 1, Day 2, and our first matchup of the night is starting to heat up quite a bit, with Map 1 being a little bit of a curveball for us here on the broadcast. My name is Upmind, joined here by Sully, and run us through Map 1, Sully, because Complexity, well, they've turned a switch somehow in these past few weeks.
Yeah, it definitely feels like they've flipped over a new leaf per se. I feel like I gave them too much slack in the beginning, saying that, well, they haven't played as many events as Equinox, so maybe they've fallen out of the meta. That's kind of my theory nowadays, is that if you don't play as many events as another team, you kind of follow the meta. But Complexity, they're clearly still here to fight. Their playbook looks so deep. I mean, all the time they had to take off during in-between events was all the time in the world to make up and fix their little mistakes. So that's what I felt like Haven was, a display of a new reformed Complexity. I mean, I feel like they got a lot of criticism for not making it out of the WSOE qualifiers, but today, and here on Haven specifically, Jonah P looked like an animal. Everyone in Complexity was playing their part. There was so many good plays from both these sides, especially that collateral from Mina. But going into this second map, Gus, I've got a lot of question marks, because while Complexity's map pick was Haven, right? This is now Equinox here on Ascent, but this is the map that Complexity have played more recently out of every other map in the past month. Like for Haven, they only played it 2 to 3 times in the past month, whereas here on Ascent, this is the more commonly played one, 6 times in the last month. And Complexity, through those 6 games, went 4-2. So this is a good map for both these sides. It could still be either way, but Equinox, they know they need to close this one out to at least attempt a reverse sweep.
I would like to think that this is anyone's game from here on out, but yeah. Equinox, definitely looking at the stats going into these next 2 maps, absolutely, I think that they still have a little bit of an edge, but they need to get through Ascent. With Complexity still building up their strat book in a sense, no, I can't really say that either, because Complexity to me, they've always been a little bit more individual fragging, but they've always had just a hard layer of just execs or just set execs in a sense. And really one person that you have to not only attribute that to, but also thank, is the boy Ruin. Ruin came into this team, if I'm not mistaken, like I think a month into the lineup, if not, was picked up with Complexity. And Complexity to me has always been a little bit more sound in terms of their strat book, but has never been able to really execute it. I think the changes for Complexity going into this game was more just getting their mental right, because Equinox just putting them down round after round after round, and still they were able to bounce back, really counteracting what would be the aggressiveness, the cockiness of Equinox. And for the entire game, in a sense, you still had Jonah P popping off. You still had AGM and Ohai still individually fragging. And I say Ohai, but it was really at the very end of the game. That guy has a clutch gene. But going into Ascent, what are your thoughts, Sully? Do you still want to continue thinking about Equinox as a hard dub here, or at least favored?
I mean, this is a really tricky one, right? Because we look at this map and we kind of think that this has to be 2-0 for Complexity. That's at least the way I feel about it, is that they're only going to walk away with this in 2-0 fashion. Now, if it goes to that third map of split, that's where things get dicey. But we'll think about that later down the line, as here is our agent composition and our agent select. So one thing Complexity have been juggling with in the past is Ohai on Ascent. He might play Raze. He might play Phoenix. This could differ their style in the smallest bit that could throw Equinox off. And that's what it did feel like, at least on Haven. It felt like the smallest changes threw the guys of Equinox off and gave Complexity that little bit of a lead or leverage against their opponents. But Ascent, we know this to be a very dually map. Wherever you walk, wherever you turn, there could be someone waiting for you with a gun. So it's going to be about all the firepower, and you need players in Equinox like Tex, like Mina, to really fill in those shoes and start to frag out here to give Equinox the best chance.
Absolutely, folks. Map number 2 between Equinox and Complexity is about to kick off. And, I mean, you mentioned it, this map is what would be the Wild West of all the maps here in Valorant. This one, we're going to see a lot more of the individual duels come into play, but that's where the fun part comes in. If Complexity still want to maintain that same organized pressure, they can do so, especially on the defensive side. If they want to double fight A main, I mean, go for it. It's just one of those maps where you have so many options to go for the early fights, but the fun part is where the post plans come in. It's on those retakes. Some of the best plays in Valorant thus far have all come from A main defenses. So who knows at this point, folks? We're getting into it. And with Equinox on the attacking side, it does look like they're going for a split once again.
Ooh, early play. Tex trying to get aggressive. They should be able to fight for this ult orb very early on, however. Equinox, they're starting to fade away just a little bit, right? With the control they've got, both A main and B main, this is kind of up in the air here for Complexity.
Still very much so. I mean, these players have no clue, and it's really just... They're really just presuming where these players would even be. With, of course, a hard rotation coming in from the player from Heaven of Complexity. That's the Omen still looking out mid for a crossfire. But that's such a huge recon bolt.
Ooh.
Gets so much information. In Equinox, they're forced to go. Great setup from the Killjoy. That up in front, at least so much damage off the front lines. It's a meat grinder. Jonah P, he finishes off a couple of players, but it's still going to be a 1-on-2. Oh, hi, we mentioned the Raze pick. He's going to have to come up clutch. One player lit on site, but...
They don't know. They don't know.
Oh, Hi has zero clue that he's here on stairs. Even the jump peak doesn't get anything. Nice think. Oh, Hi still has to take on the wide swing from Mina, as again, he has no clue. 26 HP from Mina, and not a care in the world. Equinox, although they ended up getting exposed going into that take, they just had the right players making up space on site.
Yeah, I mean, specifically Mina as well. Those double nanostorms go off, and I think at least for the side of Complexity, in their minds, they trigger them quick enough where Mina isn't able to dash on out, right? The execution, as soon as the recon bolt goes off, then Complexity, or apologies, then Equinox, they make that execution. Mina tries to dash in quick to open up space, and Complexity, they thought they caught him. They weren't ready for it, and Mina was able to catch at least Jonah P off guard in the back lines. Now, Equinox with this 1-0 start, there's no full buy here from Complexity, or at least not a major investment. And so Equinox, this should be a gimme round, but again, anything can happen here as AGM, the solo player on the B site, no nanostorms, no turrets, so he is basically out here alone.
That's basically it, right? AGM, he's just getting pinched out so much by the recon bolt, and really just the aspect that Equinox are just bound to make their way on site. So yeah, kind of just stuck in his lonesome. Now the rest of Complexity, still with, I guess you could say, decent firepower, is just gonna have to explode here on site. Their util setup, of course, with their economy being so low at the very beginning of things, it was such a stark investment. They have to make their way through just with the 1v1s, and Jonah P opened things up with a massive headshot. So Pancakes around the corner, he was flashed. XP3 gets one back, now it's a 3-on-3. Everything is equalized. Tex, oh man, Tex actually, he's able to get himself a third. Mina with yet another one, and there you go. Tex, yet another big round. Ascent seems to be his home.
Yeah, Tex as well. 4 kills. He's starting to pop off. I said that you need players like Tex and Mina to come alive here in map number 2 to give Equinox the best chance of making it through. And well, they've already lighted up the server. 9 kills for the both of them and 0 deaths shared between them. Exactly what you need from your star player, and I guess your supporting star player in the form of Mina. Nowadays, Equinox, it's all about Tex, and Tex has shown us here early on that he's got what it takes to bring Equinox back early on.
They've got what it takes, and they're just going to have to keep rolling with that pressure because, I mean, this is almost literally the same Equinox that we saw in map number 1, right? Such a stellar start. They're still able to counteract Complexity no matter where they go, but at least in this one, the firepower might not be enough for at least the frags that they would like. Like I mentioned before, early choke point pressure is going to be quite a theme going forward, but that's really how Complexity acts. In this one, double A main, like I mentioned, it's going down, and Ohai actually gets a kill onto Mina.
XN is going to try and deal with the pressure. Owl Drone reveals Sharky!
Okay.
There's blood in the water, and he's got it for himself. Ult goes out, and Tex is trying to recover. But these pistols, Gus, they've spun the narrative, and Complexity are walking away with this one. 3 versus 1. But Pancakes, I say he's walking away, or Complexity are walking away. And he, as his name says, is always looking to deal some pain. 40 seconds left in a 1v3, and it's completely winnable with these 2 players tagged low, and he even has the spike on his back as well.
Oh, Sharky again. You gotta be kidding me that Complexity actually pulls it off. I mean, Equinox, they were pressured out so quickly over towards A main and B main, but they seemed almost about ready to take on those interactions in the first place. But I don't think that matters, right, when you have a player like Sharky, and as you mentioned, blood in the water, and he's fully ready to go full Jaws mode.
Clean shots from Sharky, this one as well. Man, Sharky, I think he's one of the players that I highlighted, but as well didn't have the best performance in that first map. Due in part because Jonah P was just hogging on the kills, you know. Nothing you can really do about that, but there's what you need. Sharky coming alive. Now it's an eco here for Equinox, and Sharky again with the Sheriff. 4 kills, and they're all off of Sheriffs in 2 rounds. Spectacular stuff as Pancakes gonna try and recoup here. It's Sheriff, and like you said in the beginning, it's the Wild Wild West. He has pulled up the Stinger at the very end, even has a Blade Storm to boot, but he's looking for fights, and he wants to take them down. Sharky still popping up around the corner. He's got 4, and Sharky, you said he's Jaws, but I think he's bigger than that. It's a Megalodon here on Ascent, as Complexity tied things up off of Sharky's crazy Sheriff plays.
Yeah, the Great White got nothing on him. Oh my lord! 2 rounds in a row. Like I said, it's the Wild West, baby. He's got the full revolver. He's got the Sheriff. And oh my, I mean, open things up, you know, fairly easily, right? And even got the Stinger for a little bit of fun, but he holds it down all by himself. Equinox, they're now going to get conditioned that the A site is just no longer an option.
Yeah, and now Sharky's got the op, Gus. That's the... If he can do what he can do on a Sheriff, imagine what's here for the Operator. He will be revealed. No, he won't. And Sharky!
I can't.
You gotta be kidding me with this one, man. Sharky is out of this world.
Yeah, just an easy early frag off the Operator anyways, but come on, it's a whole kill streak at this point.
He's dropping a nuke here.
I'm just waiting to see when the RCXD actually comes out, and there it is actually. Aldrod out, and Equinox actually over towards that A site with Sharky being over towards mid, and actually double cap pressure from Complexity. That's going to allow Equinox to really just get on site fairly easily, but the retake, that's when really things get deadly.
Right, you mentioned those players back towards Catwalk. That blast gate is going to be broken down, and they've got 2 different angles where they can watch, and they can figure out what's going on in this site, and things are getting hectic here, Gus. But DXN, this Hunter Spheri needs a couple of tags. Huge. He's good for 1 and Tex for the second. 4 versus 3. But there's 1 man alive, and there's blood all around. It's Sharky who needs to come up big with this Blade Storm. 1 player low, down low. XP3 coming up big. He does find 1, but he's going to be taken down, and Sharky, even in his position, wasn't able to win that one out. Equinox, they finally revert the scoreline to their advantage. 3-2, they get it done. But it was a very hectic round, to say the very least, and they invested a lot of ultimates in that one.
Yeah, no, great pressure. I mean, Equinox just making their way on site essentially for free. Complexity before, they had double A main pressure. This round they had double cap pressure. So really just trying to switch up their approach in a sense. Don't know what the shot calling is, but it's just going to come down to what Complexity is really feeling in that round. How can they counteract the firearms? But really what came down in that round was Equinox's almost just, I'm not going to say non-existent pressure, but non-physical pressure over towards the A main area of things, over towards Heaven. And now, at this point, Complexity, they want to force out these players from even approaching A period. So Ohai, he gets all that information and all that space back over towards A main. Now the rest of Equinox, they're stuck over towards B main. They're stuck in that mid area, but they can still take a lot of control. This is where things could get really dicey, though, because Complexity, they could be anywhere.
Yeah, Equinox are doubling back now as well, and I don't think Sharky is going to predict this, but as I say that, he's ready, he's watching, he's got 1. He has been spotted out now, but can he get away? 4 seconds on that smoke, and Ohai in the spot of Subrosa is good for 1. Can he replicate that feat, though, is the question. He ducks his head, tries to get away, but Cute Fat Boy is good to flush him out. 3 versus 4 in Equinox. It's a great swing again from Sharky. Beautiful stuff coming out from this man, as he is locking down A main essentially, and has given his team a huge advantage in this one. A leg up, and now a 4v2. With 35 seconds left, Equinox have to make a move, and I feel like at this point, they're going to have to commit to this A site.
30 seconds left.
Yeah, time dwindling, and it's what I mentioned before, Complexity with so many weird spots around in mid. I mean, it's more control than you would anticipate, and honestly, Equinox, just off of that initial interaction from Ohai, they already had it lost. They would either have to just go full commit over towards B main, or just trying to fight on what would be the rotation frags from Complexity, and just didn't work out in their favor. It's a whole war ground, and 3-3 scoreline. Complexity now, Sully. I don't know if they want to go back to what would be their more safe options, because that's simply what they've been going for before. But that one was a lot more successful, but maybe for the wrong reasons.
That's a good one. You know, complexity. I think it's not necessarily about being safe. It's about making a statement early on, right? I feel like at least in that first game where complexity on the defense, it was all about let's get aggressive. Let's fight for map control. Let's pressure Equinox. Well, that's what they're doing here. Ohai again is going to look for an early peek. Smoke at the ready as well for XP3, I believe, towards B main to give AGM some control. And yep, there it goes. They will exchange smoke, so AGM can assume control. I mean, look at all this map control that Complexity is fighting for. I feel like Ascent is where you really do need it, and they've got control of extremities. AGM pushed up, Sharky making a contest back towards A main. It's that simple fact that you see a cloudburst, you recognize it's a jet, and you know who's on the jet, so you don't want to take that fight. But XP3 will be flushed out. There is an alarm bot here, though, to at least give them enough time to react. So Equinox, the map control loss, will have to try and retake it and play very slow. And it will be a B split by the looks of things, unless they want to cancel. And Jonah P looking for a swing. Not going to be able to get much, nearly exposed as well, and he'll get a paranoia right back to his face.
Oh, how is this man still alive? Tex had the angle too, but don't put him 6 feet under. Big from Tex, still pressuring out. And not only that, but no one over towards Market. That's still a little bit of information that they could potentially take going forward. But Equinox instead, they want to double back in Cat.
This could be big.
Tex still in mid 2, watching out for a couple of rotations, and really Cat has not been all too contested this deeply. It's really just going to have to come down to Ohai, who hasn't had these sort of opportunities, and he still gets one. Sharky sitting up on top. This guy has been an MVP, but he's not going to fight the first contact. Instead, he wants to wait for his teammate, and he wants to take it full on with the entirety of Complexity. Mina in a great angle.
Yeah, remember this HP, though, for Complexity.
Double actually in Cat.
Yeah, 2 players there. That's actually huge. Oh, hi. What is this?
Oh, man.
Nobody was expecting that, and he finds 3. He finds 2 up for the engagement. What just happened? You blink and you miss it. We didn't even expect Ohai to find 2. Okay, then. Complexity. Well, that's one way to make a retake happen, is Ohai go kill, find 2 frags, and, well, they take the lead back just like that. There's not much else to it, I guess.
I was mentioning how Ohai was a little bit quiet, right?
Yeah, right. And you mentioned 2 players to Calc, and I'm like, well, Ohai, he's on 50 HP. They should be knowing he lives. And then, well, the kill feed lights up with himself. So he's awake now, I guess.
Yeah, no.
Simple way to put it.
Yeah, good morning to Ohai. I mean, he's probably on those, like, demon hour pug sessions anyways. Probably up until, like, 6 a.m. pugging. So I don't blame him.
This is like the afternoon for him, basically.
Yeah, essentially. I mean, you still got that grogginess even. I don't know. Complexity, I mean, they seem to have woken up, period, throughout this tournament. I mean, early on, still getting on a 4-0 streak, and really, Sharky. He's also another one that has woken up. I mean, he didn't exactly have the best of map ones, but essentially out of nowhere, he turned into what was late map Mina, where he's just collecting just a plethora of frags. So many people walking into their crosshairs, and speaking of walking into crosshairs, XP3 getting it 2 easy ones over towards Cat. Again, it's Eco here, Sully, so not really much to worry about, but Equinox, they're not able to get really any space out of this. With so many rounds left, economy is still in the balance, so maybe a couple of exit frags could really help him out, but I don't think there's too much luck for him. Does catch off Sharky, what would be a little bit easier of an angle. Spots out the shoulder, but Jonah P, welcome back too.
Make space for Sharky is what Jonah P's been doing, right? He had like 27 frags in that first map, and at one point was 24-7. Now Sharky 12-5. Complexity looking good so far here on map number 2. Again, it is the defender side of Haven. And the B site has been a site that hasn't been tested too often. And with the full buy from Equinox, it looks like they're going to dip their toes, test the water. But an early peek from Jonah P. I love this dynamic. I feel like a lot of people see Sharky and see him as an operator, but traditionally, he's not the one that picks up the op too often. He loves to get down and dirty with the Phantom and the Vandal and try and see what he can get done. Cute Fat Boy, vying for a lot of control, trying to ensure that AGM can't get this lockdown online with these cages. Might get spammed on down. Thankfully, isn't going to get tagged, and they're not ready for it. But Jonah P, clean on the operator, able to pick up one in as a Hunter series, but he is being swarmed down.
Oh, Jonah P starts things off with a big frag. Has to catch up that second angle and triple, but Pancakes with a good swing. I mean, that was Jonah P's. He fully anticipated that swing, but even then, 3v3, folks. A little bit of util for Equinox to use off of this post plant. Not only that, but 2 on the back lines. You do have the ulti out for Sharky. Knives. He could be able to just quick dash on in for what would be an easy frag. It's tough even, but oh, there you go. Cute Fat Boy, he was spamming already in the middle of that smoke, but wasn't able to catch anything beforehand. Finally gets one. Oh, High and XP3 trying to make their way on in. And Pancakes! That's a massive 1-2 combo. And Equinox, they have a round back with their first B take in a long time.
Yeah, you catch AGM and them completely off guard. Mina goes in first. They overwhelm AGM at that first contact. And then Jonah P, you said it. He recognized the threat. He knew where that peak was going to come, but he couldn't find the shot. But in the end, Complexity, they do concede the round. AGM, well, he got what he wanted. He wanted a lockdown out of that one from the old tour. Well, he got it in the form of an unfortunate round loss. But they do still have a bye. Odin here for Jonah P. And he's going to try and contest first with some shock darts. But I think Equinox have recognized that Jonah P is going to hunt this tree. Let's try and not get revealed and get mowed down by it. But that is a lot of information.
Oh, man.
Sadly, no real tags come off of it. But he has so much info. And Sharky as well is relaying it back that nobody's here towards A. The only threat is mid. And we've seen Equinox's routing go back from the B site back to Catwalk and try and split into A. So that's where Sharky's repositioning now.
They're still going to maintain their positions relatively even. I do like the setup, though, or at least I like the patience of the util. The Killjoy is essentially ready to go at it, but still nothing spotted from Jonah P. Nothing spotted from AGM, period, as he's going for a couple of shoulder peeks. Equinox has been here for just about 40 seconds now. They have not let go, but in comes the actual take. AGM getting exposed. The util is out, but it doesn't matter. Ohai needs his frag. Gonna be able to get it back. So Mina goes down. Jonah P getting exposed. Ohai still has two. DX in with a trade back. I don't know what type of awkward interaction that was in the back lines, but this has opened up the site now for Equinox. One player all the way down in terms of HP. XP3 still takes one back right through the wall. 2v2. It's been all too chaotic. I'm sure we'll be actually able to relax a little bit and see it from the replay point of view, but this is a big crossfire. Pancake's gonna be able to get one and make it a second again. 3 kills on the round. And Pancakes, this B site seems all his essentially.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it and you look back in the round Complexity, it's hard to gamble on this B site, right? With Equinox sitting there for 40 seconds, yes, Sharky has information towards A main, but he's not willing to push off of it. He doesn't want to give his life up and give A entirely, and constant pressure from Pancakes in the form of smokes down towards Catwalk, down towards Lynx in the bottom of mid. I mean, Complexity had no idea this hit was coming. Well, it did feel like, at least from our perspective, and you said it as well, Equinox were here for essentially the entire round. Complexity have had no idea, so props to Equinox in that one. 5-5, things will be tied up now. And they're going back for more of a default. Again, pressure towards mid in the form of smokes. Not a lot of info. And you see how Complexity are now adjusting. AGM has decided to instead invest his utility on this A site. Lockdown Garden, lockdown Catwalks. They have info. But it is going to be a ruse here. Smoke down towards Market to try and draw some rotations. And XP3 will expend a smoke, but he is again wary of mid. Equinox, it's a good fake. Tex will be gunned down here by Shark as he traces the tracers on back to him. 4 versus 5 in Complexity. They do have the man advantage. They as well have a lockdown for AGM if they need to utilize it.
That was a weird position for Sharky too. Essentially out in the open. That could have been a little bit of an off angle too if they had actually swung from smoke, but again, a little bit too dangerous. But the A side is still the target. Mina making space and Complexity, they've actually completely abandoned the site. There's a whole lot of util over towards Cat if Equinox actually want control of this. And indeed, they just might walk into the traps. XP3 in the front lines. Essentially, there is contact. And not only that, but a Paranoia is going to be able to catch him off. There goes the kill. Hunter's Fury for DXN all the way back in main. Going to be able to get a collateral off of it, too. Whole lot of damage. Cute Fat Boy through the cage. Able to get a second. Jonah P through the wall. Onto Pancakes. DXN still holding down off the Hunter's Fury. And now with the op, he's in a 1v2. Waiting for the spike to get defused. But instead, he wants to force out the interaction. But Sharky is there for the frag. It is going to be 6-5 to Complexity as Equinox. They tried to hold down the site. They made their way in a relatively easy fashion, split attention throughout the entire map, but instead now Complexity, they go back to their Haven form. They allow their opponents to just take the site, and the retake, almost immaculate.
Right, yeah, and you mentioned the utility back towards the side of Catwalk. That's what they were playing off of. AGM drops the lockdown. They were waiting for anyone to swing towards Cat. They get no contacts towards there, and as soon as the alarm bot goes off, nanostorms are popped and Complexity have the sights. Jonah P again, though, in this one. Huge, huge stakes. As can we see another tied scoreline? Jonah P forced off the angle. We saw this combo the last round, and they do it here again. He's going on over, and Mina flying out of the sky. It's DXN.
Oh,
Or
my.
apologies, Jonah P to find himself in a grave. Tex with a good trade back. What a hectic round as Mina goes flying on over. But Equinox, they have a 4v2, and the spike has now gone down.
Oh, you could do nothing but laugh. That was such a weird scenario. Oh, and not only that, but XP3's got to be feeling real awkward there, too. Especially with his teammates going down. It's like, I can't even see him. XP3 tries to go for the trade and, well, walks into the crossfire of like 3 people anyways.
Yeah.
In this round, though, Equinox, the site is fully in their control, but with 3 players all the way in the back lines, they really have to hold things down. In terms of just watching over the 2 choke points, they have the crossfires, they have the setup, they have Sharky down to 31 HP. This one is essentially done and dusted as he actually gets pinged. But instead, Tex with a 4th kill, and that's going to be 6 rounds back for Equinox. We are going into the second half once again with a tie. And before I let you kind of analyze things, Sully, we had a poll going down in Twitch chat, and the prompt was, do we go to OT? 74% of people said no. So with yet another tie, there's potential that we could go to OT or just try to keep things close again like we had on Haven. And these 2 teams still very much equally matched.
Right. I would like to think now that with Equinox on the defensive side, things, or at least the pressure, should start to alleviate off them, if only just a little bit. Who knows, though? The Cypher, at least from Cute Fatboy, has definitely been very quiet on the defense, right? I kind of prompted him to be a little bit more aggressive, fight for map control, get info. Well, he's doing that here, at least. He's looking for info. And Jonah P, raid boss style, has been dropped over a Sheriff, and, well, they don't even need to use it. Sharky, good for the first frag. Tex will try and readjust, but he's sticking around on the site. This is a huge gamble, but I think with that recon bolt, yep, he's going to have to back away. Paranoia as well to force him on back. Looking for a couple of tags. Might be good to get a frag here as Pancakes goes swinging. He goes wild. And the trades go back and forth. Complexity have an advantage here in a 4 versus 3 with now the spike making its way on in. Planted front gen. As Tex trades it back, we've got an even 3v3.
Oh, Tex. So on the corner, he has at least that piece of information, but a double swing heaven. That's a little bit early, but it's more than effective. Taking down XP3 and Ohio. Now it's just down to Sharky in a 1v3. Going to be able to catch a couple of people dropping. Only 1, but still down to 11 HP. Couple of shots through the wall, and really just a gust of wind would take him down at the very end of things. Equinox, they open things up with 7-6. And, I mean, good early pressure for Complexity, but Equinox, they went the Complexity route in this sense, and they wanted to hold off a little bit before they actually ended up retaking.
Yeah, very, very patient as well. I mean, you see Tex anticipating a swing through Garden, especially as soon as the blast doors go down. Complexity just weren't prepared for it. I would say ill-prepared, right? They had low HP. They weren't in the best positions because of the pressure Tex applies onto them. Now, here's a save round, at least for Complexity. One that I feel like we haven't seen too often, and as I say that, Jonah P has opted for at least a Marshall. I say it's all right, right? Because he didn't buy a pistol, only spent 400 credits in the last round as he did have the Sheriff. Now Equinox, it's a weird buy, right? A Judge, 3 Spectres, and an Ares here for DXN. No info early on as he does save the Recon Bolt and as well as the Owl Drone. But 4 players here. Sharky's looking at least for info to at least allow his team to play off of. And while they have full B main control, it's Equinox here. They're more or less giving it to them, it feels like.
At least over towards A, they're absolutely allowing them to just make their way through. And especially over towards B, they only have 1 person very loosely in a sense. He is going for a jump spot. So very loose holds from Equinox early on, but the one place where it's not very loosely held, instead it's actually a war ground. It's none other than Cat. Mina is ready. Judge, jury, potentially executioner. In comes the take. First contact. Still has to keep going. Oh my goodness! Mina! 4 kills, 1 clip. Why not? 1 more person remaining. All the way back in A main. It doesn't matter. I do not know what I just witnessed, but Mina, with the best shotgun in the game and potentially one of the best guns in the game at this point, pulled off a huge 4K. But now Jonah P, last person remaining, 1v5, takes down 2. I need a moment.
I've got no words. You said judge, jury, and executioner. Well, I'll take the judge role and you bring back order. Equinox, what a play. So well set up. Mina just waiting beautifully. Look at this. 1 shot, 3 kills. 1 shot from a judge. Warranted 3 kills. That is something else. We've seen some crazy plays with judges, but I don't think that could ever be replicated.
No.
And Mina going down has the Blade Storm online, so no need for an investment. And well, they use it out towards A main. Easy peasy control here. And Complexity, I would be stunned. It feels like we're watching Sharky all over again, but this time Mina has made a name for himself here.
Mina. I mean, that's almost literally everyone's, I think every pugger's or every matchmaker's nightmare, right? You just run into a judge and it's just
or their
over.
dream.
It's just with a dream. It's almost over, folks. But, well, at least for this round, Complexity, they actually do want to target over towards that B side area, and not too much util actually from the Equinox Cypher in the back of B. So if anything, it might just be an easy take, and actually Q Fatboy can't really execute on it, and the Hunter Fury hits whole three targets. DXN goes down to low HP, and not only that, but the Nano Swarm takes him down to 14. That's beautifully taken by Complexity.
Yeah, 2 Nanostorms invested to prevent anyone from looking for a cheeky swing, and Pancakes has made so much noise. They know what's coming. They even had a crossfire for it. No chance he's going to win that fight. Complexity hold up all 5 players, and they're looking to maintain that as Sharky might find himself a couple of frags here. It is going to be Mina swinging on through, and Sharky with the adjustment. XB3 had the first, but Sharky the second was definitely all his. Tex, call me crazy, but I think they know where he is, and he is he's in a tricky position because AGM is behind him and he didn't even know. 7 to 8 Complexity. They bring things back, and I mean, great execution from them. Great Nanostorms to keep them back, and it's basically their round, but it was a bonus for Equinox regardless.
Yeah, that was their idea from the first place, right? They had the Hunter's Fury ready. They knew that they wanted to launch it out a little bit early to at least get some space over towards that B site. And of course, AGM, his one goal in that round was just to try to clear out space in the choke points or in the rotation spots with the Nano Swarms, and he did exactly that. Just well done by Complexity. They needed those initial frags to actually do so, and that one could have honestly gone either way, especially with how great Equinox has actually been off of the entry interactions. But just like that, folks, 7 to 8, and Equinox, they're back to a full buy, but I feel like the judge is going to be attached to Mina's name for a while now. Mina's back on it.
Sitting around the corner. He will be hoping that they come again, but they're not going to challenge it as they take the 2 players in B main out. No chance here for Equinox to hold on to the B site. There's 4 players swing, or 3 players, apologies, and 2 end up going down. Sharky, he has the Blade Storm out. He's looking for a couple of lurks. Mina has crept on through.
Yeah.
This is an awkward position. It might be able to catch Yohei off guard, but it is long range with the judge, so that could be, difficult.
Long-ish. Ohai is still checking the corner, and I mean, honestly, this is beautiful for Equinox. Actually, Mina could get not only a frag here, but also a couple of exits. And oh, come on, Mina flying through the air with absolute grace, picking up one with the judge. Oh my! I was about to say, I mean, if Mina didn't spot anyone from that spot, he would have actually gone huge with exits. Especially with Complexity only really spotting players over towards B main and really over in mid in general. So this round could have actually been way worse if Mina hadn't actually gone for that first contact. But in the grand scheme of things, that doesn't exactly matter. Complexity, they have the round in their pocket. It's 8 to 8. And as the momentum keeps flowing, their economy does too. They're sitting pretty at the moment, but they can't get complacent. As Equinox, they might be restricted down to a couple of pistols once again.
Yeah, definitely a rough position if you are now Equinox. You've amassed a decent lead, right? 3 rounds in a row, 1 from the previous half, 2 rounds to set up your economy. Then you drop the ball in what was the full rifle round in round number 4. Now, number 5, it's a little bit of a strange buy, like you said. They've got some pistols. They have a Bucky again. Mina looking for early control, but spotted out by the recon ball. Will be tagged twice, but that doesn't matter because look at the contest back towards A main. Cute Fat Boy has got a lot of work to do. Apologies, Pancakes as the dash goes in. He actually creeps through. And I thought for a second maybe they didn't have an idea, but Tex goes swinging, dismiss on out of there. Trades it back to a 4-on-4 and is looking for a little bit more, but Sharky realizes when his debt is due and he needs to leave. Jonah P guns down Mina. Phantom picked back up. It is winnable here, but it is going to be so difficult if you are now Equinox. As you are down a man, the position's assumed. There's even a flank coming in from AGM now.
Yeah, AGM, he's going to be able to execute on that flank. Well timed, well done. That takes away one less point of contact. Now the last person remaining is Cute Fat Boy down in hell. That's going to be the kill. 9-8 score line. Complexity against Equinox. And what was, again, very scrappy buy, but it just so happened to be because they had the hero rifles coming into the last round. And, well, down to the stats and down to the players on this server, I would like to at least say that everyone is stepping up in their own way, especially with Sharky with his early explosion, Tex really the entire game, really being the linchpin of all of the takes. 18 kills for him thus far, same thing with Sharky. You still have the supporting characters like XP3 and Mina, and even with, and I find this very rare, even with the players that are low on kills, I find them referencing them, or I find myself referencing them a whole lot more often. Everyone is interactive in this map. Yeah. Everyone has some sort of say. And Equinox, they absolutely need everyone on deck. All hands on deck, especially for this B-side retake. As the lockdown goes down, Fat Boy does have that first contact, just waiting out for a couple of players to go out. Not only that, but the smoke and the nade is going to be able to clear them out. So sight is theirs. The spike hasn't gone down yet. And Equinox, they're all here for the retake.
Oh, AGM with a big alarm bot. That nano swarm could come in handy. Decides to hold back. Huge frag for Pancakes. That alarm bot gives them a lot of info. It still sits and Tex is perched upon it. Oh, hi. Alongside Sharky, waiting just beneath. That is a huge paranoia. Sharky full blinded. Dink onto Tex. Can he collect the frag? Ducking and dancing behind the logs. He will be finally taken out of the mix. And Tex looking for something. It's Ohai in the front lines. But just like that, 2 kills for XP3. A third added by AGM. It's a 1v1 in DXN as HP doesn't favor him. But the Nano Swarm, it at least gives him some kind of room to work with. Here's the swing and there's the kill. XP3 gives Complexity double digits, and Equinox, they put everything into that round. And now economically, they are still fine for now, but they have been taking heavy hits round after round.
Like you said, Sully, everything into that round, especially with the fact that the Empress on the front lines fighting every single interaction. They had it all in their favor, but you have to give shoutouts to XP3 and AGM. Behind cover, they were still able to really be supporting players for those on the front lines. Ohai was just trying to get that first contact up, but the players just trying to rotate their way literally onto that spike, just wasn't allowing them to do so. Somehow AGM and XP3 still had enough information to really get those trades back, and Equinox, they ended up getting whittled down to only a singular player at the very end of things with low damage. So Complexity, good slow play, but we talk about slow, but this one is anywhere near from slow. Still making his way on his Ohai, misses out completely on the Hunter, on the Showstopper. Now the Hunter's theory goes out. DXN takes down one, and Complexity on their fastest take yet. It falls at the seams, and Equinox, they have a way back.
Yeah, now Complexity, they've realized they need a bailout card. They had no exit back towards mid, no info. For all they know, there could just be a man lurking on around here. And AGM, he recognizes that threat. Cute Fat Boy rings some shots out. He's got the information. The cam has now been spotted. Gonna try and make the swing on over. Spike can go down confidently in AGM. He's trying to press the issue.
No
he needs to take these fights. When you're down in a situation like this, you need to look for frags, but he's not gonna get any of it. Denied at the first step. XP3 in the smoke. That's all that gives him cover, but Cute Fat Boy reads him like a book. And Equinox on an eco. Spin it back around and have themselves a round.
That was an eco. I mean, you see the word on your screen, folks. It's as thrifty as you can get. It was just pistols.
Just pistols.
Just pistols. And I mean, on that A site, they had the right gamble. They had 3 players over towards that site, if I'm not mistaken, 1 on a fast rotation. And even then, everyone from Complexity just ended up walking into that crossfire, ended up walking into the crosshairs. And I mean, really, in the end, the over-util and the fact that Complexity, they actually wanted to fight their own util, that's what ended up affecting them. They wanted to go fast-paced. They wanted to go at 1,000 BPM per second, but didn't exactly work out in their favor. Equinox was more than ready for it, and not only that, but they were able to manage the chaos very quickly. Still in this round, though, Equinox, they have a couple of early peaks, and it's actually Tex to open things up onto Ohai.
Complexity not committed to either site. The Spike's still sitting in the back, right next to AGM's little Killjoy turret. Jonah P trying to investigate, but Tex, he is just around the corner. Spotting for a cam, sees nothing. But Tex is ready and waiting. As soon as he gets in his face, he now knows, though, Jonah P, the two players can swing, and off of paranoia, they got the info. He forces them away. And now they need to adjust. The B site has been prepared. The Spike waiting, and it is just one. And the back is sight. Now a second with the TP, at least from Pancakes, and DXN will be the first man of contact. If he can find a frag, this could set Nox up or Equinox up for the round to win. But Sharky's still dancing. It's getting close here. And 30 seconds left. Equinox, they are prepared, and Tex is taking their lives.
And again, just a slick round from Tex. 3 kills already for the man. And he does get pinged, but I don't think he cares. He's still going to be able to go for it. AGM needs to get the spike down, but he has 0 clue that there's 2 players in this back line. Great trade. AGM would have legitimately had a chance if only one person was there, but quick trade. And Equinox, they cover their bases. And they win out once again as now Complexity. They find themselves up against the ropes in terms of economy for the first time in a very long time. This entire half has really just been theirs in terms of economic setup. They've had the rifles almost every single round. And now Equinox, they have a chance to not only snag themselves an 11th, but really an eco against them for the 12th. The op is back, Sully. Mina has it.
Mina looking for early peeks towards B. Might just get it. The turret doesn't trigger. They don't even know that Mina's here, thankfully. But the big paranoia comes out. XP3 able to flush Mina away from that position, and a lockdown now charged up for AGM. They were battling for that control. They got the second orb now here on A. And Equinox, I mean, talk about ult or priorities. Complexity have got both, and now they can go wherever they want. AGM is maybe looking to sell a fake. And there's nothing Equinox can do to cancel that lockdown. But AGM is just waiting. So much utility to flush Tex out of that position to allow them to swing. And Mina, or apologies, Sharky already under heaven. Looking for early control as Tex goes swinging. There's one big kill. Doors have been closed, but can the spike go down safely?
No idea just yet, because if anything, Complexity, they're still waiting for players for Equinox to really show themselves. Not only that, but all their util, it's already dissipated. 2 cat, 2 heaven. It's really as easy as you can get for Equinox. They just have to watch out for the players really just biding their time, because with only 30 seconds left on the clock, Complexity, they're getting desperate, and there you go. That's as desperate as you can get. Jonah P, he wants that first contact in heaven, and he goes down for that entire thing. So Equinox now 11-10. Complexity, like I mentioned before, their economy not in the best position by any means. They're still contemplating a buy, and who knows what they're going to go for. It looks like a half buy on most of their players. Yeah,
Complexity here are playing for the OT. They're already up a map, so they can try and risk this. But it is a deep investment to the pockets of both Jonah P and AGM. They're the ones that were very lackluster in terms of economy. And Sharky, at least with the Blade Storm, this is all or nothing, it feels like. It feels like maybe they were playing for OT, but given the circumstances, maybe not. They want to try and close this out and bring it 11-11. Blade Storm out. Keep in mind the ults. They were banking on this one. Lockdown, Hunter's Fury, and there goes the first. Jonah P to try and clear it out. Tex is forced to back away, but look at his positioning. He actually doesn't care. A tiny gap in that smoke. Let's give him some info. There's that Hunter's Fury. They're trying to flush out one player in the back, and Jonah P can only connect upon one. They've got no info, and they have been stopped. The lockdown is now gone, and here comes Equinox.
In comes Equinox, but one player ended up getting detained, but still DX down on the front lines, waiting up for AGM. Gonna be able to get one. Now Tex, he's still alive, and he has Mina right next to him. Still XP3 remaining on site. 2 players for Complexity. They've left over towards B main. They could be able to execute on this site, but Mina has been an absolute hero, but has to continue to be that exact role. Couple of players still laying around the mid side, literally just waiting for Mina to go out. They have all their bases covered, but Mina checks the angle, but doesn't get the damage necessary for the kill. Complexity, right as they're about to go completely under, they tie things up 11-11. Remember what I said earlier in terms of overtime? I think chat might be a little bit wrong about that one. 74% of people said no. We're getting there, folks. We are almost there. Equinox, they're still going to be able to more or less have a buy for these next 2 rounds, but more importantly, Mina has that operator in his hands. That economy just whittles down all the way down to 500. So that's going to leave him at about 2,000 going into the next round if they end up losing. They really need to depend on this. And Equinox, it might almost look as their last opportunity.
Yeah, it does feel like it. Equinox, bare bones of economy. XP3 is allowed to cross out mid. They are vying for this control. Only one trip and one player spotting in the back. That'll be DXN. Mina to try and adjust here with this pressure. DXN is forced to back away to not risk his life. He's even taking a little bit of damage. And now Sharky up close. Tripwire there. Doesn't want to swing. He's anticipating this peak. Mina just holding this angle. Are they ready for it? Mina, one shot, one kill. Now backs away. Clean stuff from him. And Equinox, firm hold here, but the B site is now starting to get swarmed up.
Oh, indeed it is. Cute Fat Boy takes down AGM, but still XP3. XP3 has been huge over towards this B site multiple times, but even then, it's really the Mina show now. Almost had a huge flick, but now has the shorty out. XP3 has to hold things down all by his lonesome. And like I said, the shorty comes out to play, but XP3 still with a triple. It's not much for him. He has nothing to work with. With 30 seconds left, 20 HP. All of his util is gone. He's going to be able to get a smoke back in just a little bit, but his aim has to be absolutely immaculate. He needs headshots galore, but it's not going to come down to it. Pancakes takes down XP3, and now Equinox, they have map point. They're looking for a map 3.
Oh, it's so close for complexity. It feels like they stumble over in the most crucial of situations. Equinox, like you said, they have a chance for map number 3. Huge place for Meat on the operator. Great fallback. I mean, plays this beautifully, dancing around, doesn't give himself up. And XP3, everything he could in this round, but it wasn't going to be enough. Needed to land that shot, like you said. His aim needed to be spectacular, but it just fell short. One more round. Full buy for both sides. This complexity with definitely the weaker buy. DXN looking for an early peek. As again, the recon bolt, the owl drone, all the util in the world. Prayed for an early spray if someone were to contest this ult orb, and AGM is thinking about it, but DXN might have his number. Equinox spread themselves across the map. Same thing with complexity. This round means everything. We could either see 3 maps or overtime here. DXN, he knows where one is. Can he get the spray? This could be a kill. Lots of damage done, but it won't net himself anything.
Quite a bit of damage. No kill though. AGM. So close to him, just a matter of pixels. Mina, you gotta be kidding me that he actually wants to take out the recon bolt with the up, and it's more than effective. Oh, there you go. With the combination of the flash too, Ohai is able to get the kill with a showstopper, but even then, Equinox, they're getting completely shut down from the B sites. Complexity with a man advantage as Equinox, they're slowly setting up for the retake. Ohai, what a cheeky position. This is one and done at its finest, but he's still going to be able to snag one. Still meeting around the corner, waiting for the refrag, but that place is so tight, but even then, Mina pulls out the shorty, gets the kill. Tech still forcing out the situation with another one. 3v3 with all 3 players back over to word side. No, just kidding. Jonah P is still in B main, waiting for a couple of players to make their way over. Tex has opened things up. That's 2 kills for him. Mina's ready for it. Jonah P goes down. Now XP3 in the air. Can't catch Mina. Mina with a 3K opens up the entire game for Equinox, and we've got ourselves a map number 3.
We said that if complexity were going to win, Gus, it had to be in 2-0 fashion. Well, they've just been stumped here on Ascent. Mina, to close it out, has had a phenomenal game on Ascent so far. I mean, he looked absolutely unreal. Him and Sharky butting heads on the Jets. What a game for both sides, as close as we can get it in both of these maps. The first 2 were some stellar performances from both sides.
I mean, I can't believe it. Really, both of these teams going so close in a sense. And complexity, they've always been a team that we've had high hopes at the beginning of tournaments, and they always seem to somehow just fall just a bit short. Against teams like Equinox, however, they've been really stepping up to the plate. But now, Equinox in that last map really setting themselves in a great position mentally, because no matter what type of positions that complexity want to place themselves, especially with that last round with a man advantage and full B site control, they know that they always have a chance. Ladies and gentlemen, you guys are watching Valorant Challengers #1. Thank you guys so much for watching out this game. But before we go, Sully, I just want to say one thing. With this being an open qualifier, anything can happen. Sentinels. Not exactly breaking news just yet. Sentinels was 1 round away from getting eliminated by Serenity. Their second map ended up going 13-11, and Sentinels lost map 1. So that one going to a map 3. There's a couple of other side streams that you guys can check out and chat by doing !streams. Otherwise, folks, we'll have more updates when we come back. But for now, we'll be right back with map number 3 between Equinox and Complexity.
I feel like I need to defend my scene's honor here, because this is just turning into a bit of a dogpile.
Like in groups always look.
I'm cutting you off here. I'm cutting you off. Cutting you off. He said G2's winning it. He said G2's winning it.
We need to wait till the next EU tournament, which could be in about 10 years now.
Take it with like a grain of salt.
No,
but
that's
that
no
being
fun.
said,
Take it super literally.
Spike defused.
What sound experience would you like today?
I'll have the fantasy pack.
Good choice.
And could you make it a Cloud 2 wireless?
On his way, sir.
Sounds amazing.
Wow.